Today on episode 122 of Typical Chicago Fans, we have Sinkers and Floaters, the TCF Sports Minute, some college hoops talk, a little college bowl game preview, our NFL Week 15 pick show, and the TCF top 3 of winter travel destinations. Let's roll. Hello and welcome to episode 122 of Typical Chicago Fans, brought to you by our incredible sponsor, Connect Roasters Coffee. Make sure to follow our main page on Twitter at typical_Chicago. Make sure to head to Facebook and Instagram, type in Typical Chicago Fans, give those pages a like as well. Go on over to YouTube. Make sure to type in Typical Chicago Fans and subscribe there for all of our content in video form. Subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts. Follow us on Spotify, Spreaker, Google Podcasts. Wherever you get podcasts, we are there. You can find me on Twitter at BoomyTCF, but also make sure to follow the guys that I am joined with tonight. That is Zach at ZLiliaTCF and Maddie at schools_01. And we got PGoy joining us later. Make sure to give those guys a follow. Make sure to check out Beer Baseball Repeat on Instagram for your latest TCF merch as the holidays are rolling around. Pick up everyone that you love. Some great TCF merch from Beer Baseball Repeat. Boys, Christmas is less than 10 days away. 8 exactly, I believe. But are we getting excited? Are we getting in the holiday spirit? How are we feeling with Christmas right around the corner?
Oh, yeah, I'm a big fan of Christmas. I got the Christmas tree up. I don't have any Christmas lights outside. We'll get into that on the Sinkers and Floaters, but I'm always I'm a big Christmas guy.
Oh,
I just
absolutely.
love this time of year.
I agree. I'll be honest, I might get a little hate for this, but I wouldn't mind a little bit of snow. Not a ton, just a little bit of snow. There's something about white.
I'll take this weather,
the
though.
white stuff. Yeah, dude, it was 65 yesterday. It was nuts, but
also
snow on
60
Christmas
mile
Eve.
per hour winds.
Yeah, that's true. Maddie, we all ready at the household?
No. Too many nieces, too many nephews, brothers, sisters, in-laws on both sides, grandparents, all of it. So it's overwhelming how many people you have to actually buy presents for when you sit down and start actually doing it, making sure you don't forget somebody, making sure you don't forget this, or fucking wrapping paper and bags and tissue paper. It's just a lot. So it's overwhelming in that regard. That said, I'm with Zach. I like Christmas. I like Christmas music a lot. Got a very good Christmas playlist that's kind of frequently on in our house. 2 trees, lights on the front yard, lights in the backyard. So it's kind of, the kid likes it, and it's a good. We can weaponize Santa. So as much as anything, use that against him when he needed to.
The boy's been well behaved lately.
It's been up and down. There's been a lot of threats. I'm not gonna lie. Outside of that, though, yeah, it's exciting times around here.
Absolutely. It's like I said, it's my favorite time of year. I'm not the biggest Christmas music guy, but I get the itch about Thanksgiving, and I get it on the Pandora playlist at work. And, just get yourself in the spirit. You got to throw on, a little DMX, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. You got to get the vibes going. So with you there as it comes here very soon. But let's jump in, as always, to start the show, Sinkers and Floaters. My sinker is Scrooge. Everybody knows the story of Scrooge, but this time it's actually a priest. This is outside of Rome. A Roman Catholic diocese in Sicily, Italy, had to issue a public apology to outraged parents because their bishop told a large group of children that the big SC did not exist. Come on, dude, read the room. It's Christmas time. You can't be out here in front of a room of kids. I know that, he probably went with, Jesus is the reason for the season. That sounds about, typical from my time, around the Catholic Church. But come on, man, not in a room of little kids. What are we doing here?
That's wild that somebody would just say that out loud.
Yeah, and I'm sure, a lot of these kids, probably go to church a lot, Brees is a trustworthy character, and then they're hearing at a young age that, the big SC doesn't exist. Come on, man, that's got to be – those kids got to be having a hard time. Yeah, for sure. You can't be doing this, especially, this time of year, that's just, you can't be doing that.
Oh, who told you Santa wasn't real? Oh, my priest.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's a really tough realization moment as a kid when your priest lets you know that, you're like age 9, and he's just like, oh yeah, and it basically said he was trying to underline the true meaning of Christmas and the story of Saint Nicholas.
Well, you ruined
and basically just blurted it out to these poor kids.
I mean, hey, that doesn't mean the guy's right though. Not all priests are correct anyway. If Santa's real, Santa's real. I mean, let's not kid ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, you make a very valid point there, Matt.
Very true. My sinker is putting up Christmas lights. I am a big fan of Christmas lights, but this year I will not be participating in that because I haven't put them up yet. There's like a week till Christmas. Not gonna do that. But I'm kind of mad at myself. And next year I for sure will be putting Christmas lights up. But I have decided against it.
You joined me on the dark side, my friend.
So my sinker is myself, actually, because that's just I feel bad.
Yeah, I think Maddie's put up enough Christmas lights for the whole podcast. We can kind of, Maddie's taking care of that. Shout out to Matt. But yeah, I've never been an outdoor Christmas lights guy. I mean, we do the tree, we do a little bit of garland here and there, a little decoration, but I don't do the outside stuff. So you finally joined me on the dark side, Zach.
Yeah, I have decided against it, but I'll be back next year with an awesome light show.
Matt, on a scale of 1 to 10, how disappointed are you in Zach and I this year?
How disappointed?
Just in the lights, not other things.
Yeah, I was gonna say, where do we start? 7.5, 7.4.
Well, see, I'm remorseful. Boomy will never put lights up in his life.
Boomy doesn't show like he has any concern at all. So
no, he doesn't care.
Not at all.
The only thing I'll say is I was much more like Boomy, and then once you have somebody else in the house that like dominates Christmas and the being of a child, that kind of changes up. That flipped me. So that's the only thing that flipped me. I used to
maybe there's hope for me in the end.
I used to be a hater too. We can all change, okay?
Yeah, there's hope at the end of the tunnel here. That I guess for me then.
Very true.
Maddie, what is your sinker this week?
All right, boys. It's a little bit of a mashup of two topics we talked about last week. I talked about a guy who burned down his house to, rid it of snakes. Remember that guy?
And the snakes didn't even leave.
And then the other thing we talked about was a debate about real. It wasn't really a debate. It was a domination of real and fake Christmas trees. And we all agreed on fake Christmas trees. Well, we got one more win for the fake Christmas trees out there. South African family. I saw this on Twitter.
I saw this.
They talked about it on Hard Factor too, I believe. So read some articles about it. The South African family buys a freaking Christmas tree and get it all decorated, all set up, fluffed out, trimmed, all that. And the cats are staring at the thing, like just ready to pounce the Christmas tree. So they think, oh, it's like maybe a bird nest or a mouse or something. Turns out it's South Africa's most venomous snake was peering out of the Christmas tree, dude.
Absolutely not.
My God!
This thing apparently has enough venom. It does not take much to get into a human that would like cause major problems within minutes. And so they got really lucky that the cat spotted. They were able to get it removed. And one more reason though to stick with a fake tree, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Fake trees don't have
Burn
that.
the house down.
Dude,
fake trees do not have that.
I would lose my mind.
It's one thing if it's like a little garter snake, you could probably. I'm with you. I'm just playing.
I don't care if it's that. No snake.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you here. I'm not arguing snakes versus no snakes, but I'm saying if you have the most, I believe, Matt, it was the most venomous snake in the country of South Africa.
Yeah, it might have been the continent too. I think it might have actually been Africa's most venomous snake.
Yeah, absolutely not.
The boom slang. What a wild name too.
Great name. That's a 9 out of 10 name. But I mean, the guy now. I mean, if that guy's house was full of those, absolutely burn it all down. Maybe they should call that guy in to exterminate a little problem.
Not the
sounds
ideal Christmas
awful.
tree. Like I said, that's one more reason to stick with the fake tree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you're going real tree now after hearing some of these stories, what are you doing?
No, you mean fake tree.
Yeah, that's if you still have a real tree.
Yeah, if you have a real tree, I want.
Oh,
Yeah, if you still after hearing this, I mean, you've got to move on, man.
You're crazy.
My floater is brownies. My floater is brownies because a company in Massachusetts has created the world's largest brownie. And I know it's a pretty boring story, but not only that, it is the largest THC-infused brownie ever made. And this thing, I'll be very honest, it does not look appetizing at all.
You're wrong. It looks awesome.
No, it's gigantic and kind of not very. It almost looks like burnt chocolate. But this thing is 3 feet by 3 feet, 18 inches tall, and this thing weighs 850 pounds. Not only that, it contains 20,000 milligrams of THC. 20,000. I mean,
that's insane. Because I just think somebody is trying to break a record.
Oh yeah, I mean I don't know. I mean, I don't partake, but I can't imagine the math you would have to do to figure out how many people could consume this over what period of time. Because I mean, this thing looks like like sometimes in parking lots they have those concrete barriers, those big giant square ones. This looks like a chocolate one of those. 850 pounds.
But if
I'll
no one's
take it
gonna
down.
eat it, isn't it kind of a waste?
Oh, it's absolutely a waste. You got to get a giant group of people. I mean, you got to do something.
I'll eat it.
I knew we'd have some takers.
My floater though is power tools. Because guess what, boys? Where would we be without power tools?
Amen, brother.
Not saying we fix things all the time or whatever, but if there wasn't power tools, I would be lost. I was thinking about that the other day.
I can't imagine a life, like if we were alive in the 1800s, I'd have died 10 years ago. I mean, I'm not outdoorsy. I very, very much like indoor plumbing. I'm not good with tools. I hurt myself all the time. There's no chance that I would have survived past 20 if I had to do every single household chore without some sort of power tool. Just no way. There's no way.
We would be nowhere. We'd be nowhere.
Dead. That's where we'd be.
Boys, my turn.
It's your turn.
Floor's yours.
I wasn't sure if you were done. All right, mine. I'm gonna go again, just like my sinker. I'm gonna go back to something I talked about last week. This time it's my media recommendation, and that was I talked about UFC 269. I don't know if either of you guys watched it at all. Great pay-per-view, great couple prelim fights too. But on the pay-per-view card, there was 4 out of the 5 fights were won by the underdog. So that's a little bit crazy. 4 of the fights also ended in a finish. The Sugar Show was in full effect. He had an early knockout in the first with a pretty nasty combo. Nice little walk-off win for him. And then the GOAT, Nunez, lost the belt. So that's pretty crazy. She's only got the one division now.
That was wild.
The odds was insane, too.
Yeah, she was minus 1,000. And they've already kind of talked about odds on a couple articles I saw, too, of a rematch. And they still have Nunez at like minus 550. So still a pretty heavy favorite to win back the belt in a rematch. But then the main event, Oliveira, dude, that guy's a machine. And
yes, that's exactly what I was going to say.
Right now, because he looks like in a league of his own at the moment, both striking and ability to wrestle too. So pretty good night of fights though, and so it turned out to be well worth the pay-per-view. That's for sure.
So I saw my guy Sugar Sean took care of business real quick. And
still undefeated.
Like I said, I'm very new to it. So basically, when the pandemic, started, and that was like the only sport that kind of came back relatively quickly.
Yeah.
Kind of caught me then. I have a buddy that's big into it and just got it, So he's fought a ton since then, and I think this is fourth or fifth fight since then, since the start of the pandemic. So, I got on him basically because of that. Jesus Christ!
And
The Chiefs are gonna cover. I'm gonna throw
he
up.
puts asses in the seats, man. He does the social media. I mean, he's TikTok, Instagram. He does it all and really draws people to the sport. And I mean, that's the reason he's my favorite. He went on, I think it was Theo Vaughn's podcast, and talked with him. I mean, he's doing it right. He's growing his following, and obviously he's executing in the ring because damn is he fun. I mean, he gets that knockout and then he hits the the double crossover and the jump shot celebration that he's been doing. I mean, the guy's just fun to watch, and there's so many fighters like that in UFC. That's
the tattoos,
what's cool to see. Yeah, face tats and the 6'9" hair.
Smoking blunts on Instagram all the time. He's nuts.
He's a man of the people, that's for sure. Well, let's go ahead and jump into the TCF Sports Minute. The first two are going to be kind of quick. The Bulls are on a little bit of a hiatus due to the breakout of COVID for the Bulls. Sitting at 17-10, had Tuesdays and Thursdays game postponed because of, I believe, 10 players placed on health and safety protocols. We're kind of waiting to find out if they'll be back in action next week. But as you see, a lot of teams kind of facing this issue right now. Boys, anything on the Bulls as we look forward to next week, if they're possibly going to be on the hardwood or what's going on there?
I think they're supposed to be back Sunday against the Lakers at the United Center, but we'll have to see. Fortunately for the Bulls, these last two games have been canceled because they've had nobody that can actually play. But hopefully they can keep it moving after this and have no problems the rest of the season.
Well rested, you hope you go into these once you do come back, that you took care of your bodies and you gotten ready to play and come and hit the ground running.
It's like the DeRozan. He posted the picture of the iPhone battery, like fully charged.
Yes,
all that.
Exactly.
It's just like, that's just a cool tweet. You know what I mean? Like, I like that kind of stuff.
And then Vooch obviously chiming in. We'll have herd immunity, going forward. So
yeah, right.
You hope that this isn't the only, or you hope this is the only time that the Bulls get postponed games. PGoy, anything on the Bulls?
No, I thought the Vooch tweet was pretty funny because he kind of steered into the whole thing like, yeah, we're kind of screwed, but, let's make some light out of it.
Yeah, exactly. Make the best of it. On the other side of the United Center, the Blackhawks sitting at 11-15-2. Huge win last night in Washington. Did kind of, almost give one away. But Maddie, are you still chiming in or still tuning into the Blackhawks? 11-15-2 is not great, but considering where everything started, could be a hell of a lot worse.
Yeah, at the end of the day, they're a bottom third team in the league, which, that's not going to get you in the playoffs, which they dug themselves such a big hole to start the season that really hard to get out of, especially in the system where you get a point for overtime losses. So teams don't lose as ground, as quickly in a lot of times if they're scratching out that loser point like that. So it's hard to make up ground when you, like I said, when you dig yourself a quarry like that, but they're playing better. Their defense isn't bad. Seth Jones is a stud, so everybody who was bitching about that can just never talk again about him because that guy's a monster. He's probably been their best player on the season, I would say, in my opinion. Probably Fleury too, but like I said, they're playing better. They just don't have any scoring punch, so they're not going to be able to compete with like the high end, top tier teams in the league. Your Colorados and Tampa's and those kind of teams that just have so much firepower. The Hawks can't keep up with that, so they're going to kind of
nice pick one up tonight.
It's a big win like against Washington. It's a talented team. It's nice to get a win like that, but you got to string some together if they're going to try to make a playoff push in any way.
It'd be nice to get yourself back, right around 500 before it's too late. And if I'm not mistaken, Matt, didn't Washington kind
of broke up there? I didn't hear you, Boomy.
Didn't Washington, the Capitals, didn't they boat race earlier in the season?
Yeah, they're. It's not like they're a crap team. Ovechkin still puts the puck in the back of the net as much as anybody, and they're a team that's gonna, they're gonna be. They're never an easy out. So like I said, it's a big win, getting a win like that. You got to start stringing them together, though. You can't have the 1 win and 2 loss and 2 wins and 2 loss, and you just can't. spin your tires too much. You got to make it. You basically have to make up 10, 11 games at the way they started. So you got to start going. You got to get a couple 4s and 5s. Start putting those together.
Yeah, a nice little streak of like 8 out of 11 would be real nice.
Yeah,
a couple in a row there.
Let's not kid ourselves. They're out. Their scoring punch is getting old, and they're just not quite putting it. Put it in the net like they used to. Taves, he's got 1 or 2 goals in the season. Kane's not. I mean, I don't think Kane's got the supporting staff he needs.
Hard to argue. Zach, Pat, anything on the Blackhawks?
They're something fun to watch.
Yeah. They're better than they were.
They're better than they should be.
Yeah, the beginning of the season looked like it was going to be like an 82-game funeral. You know what I mean?
It's just hard to get out of the hole that they dug themselves.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, the reason that we have PGoy on the show, the local Vikings fan, we got to move into some Bears-Vikings talk. Bears-Vikings Monday night. Vikings sitting at 6-7. Bears at 4-9. Boys, are we ready for this one? I mean,
why is this game Monday night? What is this? Why the Bears? Why are the Bears on primetime back-to-back
to humiliate
weeks?
2 fan
The
bases
NFL should be ashamed of themselves.
The NFL likes to humiliate these 2 fan bases. And
I was thinking, as a Vikings fan, you had the perspective last week when they had a 29-0 lead, and if you're a Vikings fan, you're like, nope, this ain't safe. This ain't safe. And sure as shit, it came down, and it just the guy, Freiermuth for the Steelers, had the touchdown in his hands at the buzzer, and he dropped it. That is Vikings football, where you can have a 29-point lead, and the last play of the game, the guy has it in his hands, and he drops it. It's just incredible.
I mean, you could be 15-1, and your perfect kicker can blow a chip shot to go to the Super Bowl.
No, it's.
I mean, that's the life.
That was a deep cut.
99. NFC Championship.
That was a deep cut. I don't hate it. Obviously, Minnesota's still, in the hunt. PGoy, do you have any, what do you think here? We haven't had a chance to talk to you a ton. Do you think the Vikings are going to the playoffs or no?
Maybe. I don't know. It's tough because every week, like I said, they play close games every week, and you never have a sense of confidence where think about being a Patriots fan right now. You're like, yeah, these guys are pretty good, and the Vikings are right there in the hunt, but you do not trust them at all to do, whether they're a 7-point favorite or a 4-point dog. They're going to play a close game every single week, and it's going to be, you're white knuckling the entire game, every week. So it's tough. I mean, I mean, obviously, if they beat the Bears, they're going to have a pretty good chance. They'll be 7-7. But I mean, I don't. We'll see what happens.
Where do you fall on Cousins? Just curious on that.
I purposely. So I called this, and Zach knows. I was in Bowie's basement how many years ago when I called the Cousins to the Vikings signing. You guys remember that? Yep. And I called it, and then I told myself I'm not going to, MF him or say anything bad about him, because if this ends up working, I want to be the guy that didn't say anything bad about him. So, I think he's fine. He's fine.
That's the perfect response for it.
Let's go with that. He's a fine quarterback. We'll go with that. He's fine.
That giggle is perfect. The Zach giggle is perfect on that. That's exactly how I felt when he said he's fine, because he was you could tell
Zach just loves to motherfuck him, and I know he loves it. I know he loves it too. But no, I mean he's not great.
Right.
He's not bad. He's just
you could tell PGoy did not fully. You could tell PGoy did not fully believe himself when he said he's fine, because he's like, he's fine.
There was a question mark at the end of it.
Yeah, it was.
He makes some good throws and he makes some bad throws. I mean, he's, like I said, he's fine. He's fine. He's there. He's fine.
He's Kirk Cousins.
Insert burning house dog meme here.
Yep, that's exactly what he is. We get there, and you're down by, you're down by 3 points with the ball on the last drive, and you got Cousins, and there it is. He's fine. So we'll see what happens.
On the other side of things, Zach and Matt, Justin Fields looking, a little bit better last week. I mean, I still think the kid's got an enormous amount of talent. What are you expecting out of the Bears this week? Back in prime time, like we've already said, it's really kind of despicable that the NFL is doing this to the Bears. But are you excited for this one? You think you're going to knock the Vikings down a peg and take them kind of a little bit farther out of the playoff race as we get closer to it?
I'm always excited to see Justin Fields out there, but I don't know. I don't get why this game is even going on a Monday night.
Yeah, this should have been a flex, absolutely.
But I really do hope that he goes out there, plays well, and that's really all I'm looking for right now the rest of the season.
Is it me, or are you almost just like kind of waiting for like a breakout game where he throws for like 290 and just kind of goes off? And like, I know it stinks if they do.
He did against the Steelers. He went nuts.
Right, and if you get one of those in prime time, that might be his, quote unquote coming out party, and it's you almost kind of have that little bit of glimmer of hope that he's just gonna have one of those where he just absolutely. And I know the Steelers game was a Thursday night game, I believe. You stack a couple of those up, and the future looks a lot brighter.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think as much as anything, that's all I'm concerned with at this point. I don't care what else happens. Make sure he doesn't take too many big hits. Let him try to develop against NFL defenses, and I don't know. The only problem is I think Nagy might have doctored some of these COVID tests to make all the coordinators sit out, so he gets to resume play call duty for offense.
Call the whole thing.
Special team. Like he's just gonna say, here, this is how great of a coach I am. I'm calling all 3 phases this week, and we're gonna win. We're gonna,
they come
I'm
out
really
squeak
happy
out
at
a win.
halftime. Remember,
Yeah, they squeak out a win, and then Matt Nagy gets a contract extension, and everybody's just pissed off.
That guy,
I will say,
he needs to go now because it's like you got to start being on the forefront of getting these assistants interviewed before the playoffs start and stuff like that.
Yeah, you don't want to be the last team to hire.
18-18 tie.
Yeah,
that sounds actually very, very probable.
That is so this game's gonna suck. It's gonna be an 18-18 tie. Like it's just.
I don't hate that at all. Maybe I'll take the yes on overtime.
I have a dumb question, real quick. Can they not flex Monday night games?
No,
I thought they put a rule in this year that they could.
I know they can.
I don't know.
Flex
I thought it was
Sunday.
only Sunday, but could be wrong.
Monday night does make more sense that you can't flex that out. I will say, watching the game on Sunday, Justin Fields, that elusiveness that he has and his ability to escape the pocket and get out of some of those hits, I mean, there's clearly a skill set there, and it's not like one of those where it's Andy Dalton sitting in there who's just a sitting duck ready to get his head taken off. He made some really, really nice athletic plays, got himself out of danger, and I think that's something that, obviously you don't like to compare things, but like that stuff you've seen out of, guys like Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes, and, not saying that there's a similarity in play there, but, he has some of those tools. And I think, going forward, if the Bears get the right guy to coach this team and get the right coordinator, that he has a skill set that is going to be very, very good if he can continue to build on it.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, I think that's, you're holding out hope. What about, we saw Tevin Jenkins make his first NFL start last Sunday. Anything on Tevin Jenkins on the Bears side, boys?
Rookie mistakes. Hopefully he doesn't make them again.
Yeah,
Get him out of his system.
Yeah, he just needs to work. He needs some time in the field, I think. We'll see.
It also felt like his return was a little bit rushed. I mean, I know he was medically cleared, but obviously that's a quick turnaround for a rookie. And
I mean,
he's going to make his mistakes.
It seemed like as the intensity of the game ramped up when the Bears got down, he struggled a little bit more then. But
yeah, I thought so too. Kind of the adrenaline wore off. But before we move on, boys, predictions for Monday night. Who do you got? What's the score? PGoy's taking the 18-18 tie. Zach, Matt, do you think the Bears are going to pull this one out?
Yeah, I think they'll win.
Bears money line?
Yeah.
Matty, you're a Bears fan. They're going to win this game, right?
I don't know. I don't want them to. I just want to get this thing over with. Like, I mean, I want them to win. I don't want them to lose. Like, I'm not rooting against them. But, like, if it means Nagy's out quicker at this point, that's more important in my opinion. I want Fields to play well. I'll probably sucker into the Bears anyway, so I might as well take them here.
I don't blame you there. And PGoy, not all is bad in the world. Your doppelganger, Mike Glennon, threw for 191 yards last week. So, two guys that look alike. Things aren't that bad. Your guy, came out and played really well for the Giants. So not all is lost on the very average Minnesota Vikings team.
One of us has like $30 million more than the other one. I'm not going to say who it is, but
the other one's Mike Glennon.
Yeah. Oh, long neck fucker. He's got a lot of money.
That is true. Before we move on, we have to give a big thank you to our sponsor, Connect Roasters Coffee. They have the best coffee around. They work with our guy, Dom Frederick, Cubs outfielder Ian Happ. Zach loves it. Zach's mom loves it. It's good coffee. Make sure to check out their website, connectroasters.com. Make sure to follow them on Twitter at Connect Roasters. You can find their products in Foxtrot Market or Dom's, but make sure you head to their website, connectroasters.com, to fill up on the best coffee around. Boys, let's get into some college hoops talk. The season's been going for about a month now, and it has kind of been a bizarre season. We've had, I believe, 4 different number ones, a lot of number ones going down. Our top 5 right now is Baylor at 1, Duke at 2, Purdue at 3, UCLA at 4, and Gonzaga at 5. Has there been any big surprises for you guys jumping out in the college basketball season? I think there's been a lot of parity this year with that many number ones, and I think that's always a good thing for college hoops. You don't have just one dominant team, but it's been a fun season so far.
Yeah, I'd say it's a season that as of right now, you don't know who the best team is. That's
absolutely fun. That's a great way to put it, dude. I mean, because if you go to any sports book right now and you could pick, one of a dozen teams that you could make an argument for that could win the national title right now.
Yeah, and that's what makes it that's what makes March Madness fun, and that's what makes the rest of the season fun.
100%. Maddie, anything on college hoops so far this season?
Yeah, I like that. Personally, Carolina's kind of flying under the radar. I think this is the type of the season where having some veterans that they've got veteran bigs, and they've got 2 sophomore big guards who are shooting the ball really well this year, and they're both shooting both can hit the 3. Hubert Davis is playing a little bit more of a outside shooting type attack, so it's a lot more fun to watch, I think, in my opinion. They're going to get a good test this weekend with Kentucky. They were scheduled to play UCLA. Kentucky was scheduled to play Ohio State, but COVID for Ohio State and UCLA had to nix them. So Kentucky and Carolina just said, well, we're both in Vegas. Let's play against each other instead. So.
Oh, I did not know that. What?
Yeah, it was that coaches versus not the coaches versus cancer, but the CBS one that they do every year.
Yeah,
those 4 teams always travel to a different city to play, and this year was in Vegas, and 2 got COVID, so the other 2 are playing against each other now. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it'll be a good test for Carolina. I'm kind of excited to see how they match up with that. Another talented team. Lost to Purdue and lost to Tennessee. I don't think those are 2 bad losses, and I think I don't know that should have knocked them out of the top 25. They beat Michigan. They've beaten a lot of pretty much winning by double digits against every team that they should be right now. So. I kind of like they're flying under the radar too.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's funny you mentioned Michigan. That was a lot of people's pick as the early season number 1, and they're struggling right now. But on the other side of the coin,
Caleb Love's a really, really good point guard, and I think I think that's one dude that nobody is kind of noticing. He's only a sophomore. He was a top 15 recruit last year, so it's not like this guy's not like loaded with talent. So that's one dude I think if you haven't watched Carolina, that's the guy I'd watch personally. Him and RJ Davis both good guards.
Absolutely. I got a chance to see I got some surprising teams here, but I got a chance to see one of them. I was at the Arizona-Illinois game last Saturday, and that Arizona team sitting at number 8 in the country has been one of my biggest surprises. I mean, 9-0. I mean, I probably saw 3 to 5 guys that'll get, at least a shot in the NBA. Illinois goes on a huge run. and Arizona puts the clamps on that.
Arizona kind of came out of nowhere too, with a little bit of turmoil, with Miller leaving.
Yeah, a new
and everything
coach.
like that. So it's one of those teams you wouldn't have expected to kind of just take off at the start of the year. If they were going to be good, you'd think it would be a team that gelled later on, but not. They've been impressive.
Absolutely. In Illinois, I mean, obviously missing Carvello is big, but I mean, they weathered the storm and just couldn't. They kind of fell apart in the last couple minutes, but it was one of the most. It was definitely the best college basketball game I've ever seen with my own two eyes.
It'd be crazy not to talk about Gonzaga either, because let's not forget that team is about as dominant as anybody's going to be this year too. So
yeah, and it's kind of wild because they're also sitting there. I think they have 2 losses right now, but I mean, like you said, they're absolutely loaded with talent. Also on the West Coast, USC is number 10 in the country, sitting at 10-0 right now. I mean, I know the West Coast kind of gets pushed to the back burner when college basketball gets talked about because those games are so damn late. But there's a lot of really good, and obviously UCLA we talked about earlier as well. Some of my other big surprises: Iowa State. Iowa State was 2-22. Last season. They are currently undefeated. They are 10-0. One of the, I think, 6 undefeated teams left in the country. Matt, our squad, the Colorado State Rams, they are ranked 23rd in the country, sitting at 10-0. And then
Roddy's
also
a stud, man. Roddy's an absolute stud.
That team's good, man. I swear, man, they're my underdog of the year. I don't know if they've got enough to get to an Elite Eight or a Final Four, but they're playing well.
Nobody's gonna want to play them because they're veteran. It's one of those teams that has guys that have played a lot of games together, and that's dangerous as hell in the tournament.
Absolutely, and especially like you said, the veteran presence there is going to go a long way, and they'll probably be put in the West. The West bracket.
He just scores, dude. He fills the goddamn bucket every night, and he's just, I don't know. He's tough to defend in that conference. That's for sure.
That's for sure. And one other surprising team I had written down: San Francisco. They are sitting at 10-0, undefeated. Yeah. Playing really well. Kind of one of those teams just to store in the back of your brain. They're probably not going to finish the season undefeated, but one of those teams that they might get in the tournament. Keep those in the back of your mind.
Pretty sure they're in the West Coast Conference with Gonzaga, aren't they? St. Mary's.
Yeah, and I think that's another thing to keep in mind, that like Gonzaga gets dogged a lot for the conference they play in, and I don't disagree. And I'm not saying that they're world beaters, but I mean, you've got St. Mary's there, you've got BYU, you've got San Fran, who's playing really well. Pacific had a great year last year. I think that they're getting a little bit more of a shot than they have in the past. I
agree with that.
It's gonna be fun. Zach and PGoy, any surprising teams or any teams you really like this year so far in the first month of the college hoop season?
I'm actually just happy with the way there's not a dominant team right now. It's a lot of good teams.
Yeah, and Zach, I know you've talked about this in the past too, like the ability of these schools, and like Matt was talking about for North Carolina, and Kentucky to just pick up a game, the scheduling flexibility, and I think you're seeing it in other spots. Duke lost a game, and they were talking about picking up someone.
That's so much easier in basketball than like other sports too, because like you think about all those like the AAU tournaments, the summer tournaments stuff. That's all you do is you travel from game to game, court to court, bounce from here to there. And, it's just like, it's no different really at the end of the day.
And I even saw Rick Pitino retweeted Calipari's tweet and said, hey, if you're looking for an opponent, we're willing to travel or whatever. So I know we've talked about that during COVID times, Zach, and I know that's something with football is a little bit more difficult, but you're seeing the flexibility of some of these schools with the way things are right now to pick up a game and just go. PGoy, anybody you're loving right now in the college football or college basketball season? I know it's only about a month in.
No, man, I like you said, I like the shuffle at the top of the rankings. It's pretty interesting as far as like you thought that Gonzaga was going to come in and be this dominant team, but then they played a couple of good teams and they lost. So it's going to be pretty interesting as far as. I mean, I think they're going to run through the West Coast Conference for sure, but then they're going to get to the tournament time. And we'll see what happens.
Got to give Gonzaga credit though too, because they'll play anybody. Yeah. I mean,
anybody anywhere.
Yeah. And I think it was interesting that like Purdue finally got to the top of the mountain and then lost immediately. So there is no like, yeah, you got this one team that's like really good. So we'll see what
Purdue's
happens.
tough.
But,
Purdue's a really good team.
yeah, they're really good. Well, and so is Gonzaga and Duke's always, they're good too. But yeah, we'll see.
Baylor won the damn national title last year, and they look really good right now.
Yeah, they look just as dangerous as ever.
Yeah. So we'll see. It'll be a pretty fun season for sure.
Speaking of clowning, we also might have a new clown. We dog on Chicago State a lot, but Chicago State, as we were recording this tonight, picked up the third win of the season. All right, they beat IUPUI, Ooey Pooey, sitting at 1-8. Ooey Pooey might have taken Chicago State's claim to the worst team in college basketball. So shout out the Chicago State Cougars, third win of the year. All right, that's like already eclipsed like their last 5 years.
Before we get off college buckets real quick, just want to mention Calipari raising like $3.5 million, $4 million for the tornado victims in Kentucky. That was pretty impressive to do that quickly for him. So they deserve a lot of credit for that.
Yeah, absolutely. It was very cool. I think he did a telethon or some drive. That was awesome to see. Let's stay in college, but let's move into some college football as this show comes out. We have the first college football bowl game. We got my NIU Huskies taking on the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers today. Guys, I'll be honest, I'm not going to spend a ton of time on it. I'm a little worried about this. Coastal Carolina is an 11-point favorite. I worry that NIU is just going to play the old, we're happy to be here, we're happy to be included. But you know what? I was talking, shout out to our guy Bobby Wilson on the TNT College Football Podcast. I was actually talking to him right before we recorded. Check out his episode coming out today as well. I really think if you're gambling on this, you go Coastal Carolina first half spread, but you take NIU the full game, just because it's been the whole season. They've gotten down big in every game, clawed their way back in. But yeah, excited to get the bowl season. You guys are ready for football games damn near every day for the next 3.5-ish weeks.
Yeah, because the first bowl game's actually at noon, I think.
No. Oh yeah, it's 11. I forgot. And I used the second. They're at night. I forgot there was one before then.
Let's go.
Yeah, 11 a.m. Tennessee and Toledo. Knowing Zach's doing it at work today. That's for sure. Any bowl games, you guys? I got a couple I want to throw out there. I think there's going to be really solid matchups. If you guys got any, throw them in. But the Frisco Bowl, we got Maddie and my favorite West Coast team. We got San Diego State taking on UTSA, who's kind of been the darling of college football this year, sitting at 12-1. Their only loss was in the college or the conference championship. San Diego State 11-2. I think this is going to be a fun one. The spread is only 2. I'm hoping to see like 78, 79 points in this. That'll be one to watch for sure. Yeah, a lot of overs. I like that one. That's going to be a good game. I also circled the Alamo Bowl. I believe we talked about this last week. Oregon and Oklahoma, two teams kind of on the outside looking in. Oklahoma obviously losing their coach. Both teams losing their coach in the last couple weeks. And then the last big one I had circled was the Fiesta Bowl, Oklahoma State and Notre Dame. Notre Dame just missing out, losing their head coach. Those are my 3 games that I will absolutely be watching over the next 3 weeks. Do you guys have any you want to throw in?
Not really. I mean, I'm just excited for any game. The first and last game of every day is the best.
Yeah, when you wake up.
It's usually
that is true.
It's good philosophy. I kind of like that.
There we go.
No, I think I don't know. There's the Iowa State Clemson game is kind of interesting to me. I think there's a lot of talent on both sides of the field on that one. 2 teams that kind of had high expectations coming into the year. Both kind of went divergent directions. I think Clemson started to get playing a lot better in the second half of the year. Iowa State just kind of struggled up and down all season. Should be an interesting game though. Iowa State's a 1.5-point favorite right now, so. That could be a good one. The Cincy-Bama game, I'm just curious to see where Cincy falls against them. I'm crazy matchup, I think, for Cincy. I think talent-wise, top to bottom, they've got some holes, but I think their secondary could give problems to a banged-up wide receiving core for Bama. So that's the matchup to watch, in my opinion.
Matt, we talked about that game a lot last week, and I hate to break it to you. I think I've joined Zach's side. I think Bama's going to boat race them.
They might. I think.
Thank you.
They might. They might not.
But I also think there's
might not. It's a flip of the coin, and usually I'm wrong.
I mean,
but I think it's either going to go one of two ways. Either Alabama's going to win by like 35, or it's going to be like a field goal game.
I do think a senior quarterback is a good asset to have in a spot there with a good defense and a good secondary. Guys played a ton of football, and they've got a good coach too. So I think there's the parts are there to give Bama some trouble.
Yeah, I definitely don't disagree with
taking
you.
Cincy money line or something here. Jesus.
It would be awesome though to see that, because if there's a team that you want to see lose to a non-Power 5 school in the playoff, it's Alabama.
Mean, this is fucking Hoosiers right here, dude. Like this is it.
This is maybe the greatest thing that'll ever happen to Cincinnati football, and it's gonna be fun to watch.
Dude, Luke Fickell can pick his job anywhere afterwards.
Yeah. Very true.
I'm kind of with Matt on this one. Like, I mean, since he finally gets there, and do you think they're not going to just like empty the playbook on like, we're going to play Alabama, let's just go for it? And I mean, this essentially is their national championship.
This is a Bama team that struggled against Auburn.
Yes, exactly. Like, do you think they're not just going to just go for broke here and then pull out all the stops and just go for it?
Desmond Ritter's a better quarterback than Bo Nix.
What?
Well, yes. I don't think you'd find anybody outside of Bo Nix's family that would argue that. That's a fair statement. That's fair. But just the matter of fact that we've talked about this game for 2 weeks now, and it's still not even for 3 weeks, is showing.
I know.
That's what's crazy.
It's a perfect college football matchup. That's all I'm going to say.
Yes. And David Goliath, like you said.
David Goliath, like you said, David versus Goliath. It's the Power 5 versus the Group of 5, the top dog versus, someone's trying to claw their way in. It's perfect.
Exactly. And I think that, a lot of fans of, non-Power 5 schools, or, not non-SEC, Big 12, Big 10, you're pulling for Cincinnati because you're like, hey, if they can do it, why can't you let, any other team that, a UCF team that goes undefeated, why can't you let them in, or maybe expand it so that these teams have a chance? And, I think there's a lot riding on this game, and it's, I think it's going to be.
Hey, imagine the border war for a Michigan-Cincy final, all right?
Didn't even think about that.
Yeah. Michigan and Ohio tear each other's up, dude.
Hey, Cincinnati, the best college football team in the state of Ohio.
Hey, can't argue it.
Absolutely. Boys, any other games that we did not bring up that you want to make sure that you are tuning in for?
We got a few weeks of a lot of fun bowl games.
For sure.
I think the Baylor Ole Miss game will be fun. That feels like that feels like a lot of points too. I know.
Saturday, I forgot one. Western Kentucky, Appy State. That'll be a good game too.
What?
Over.
Yeah, 66.5 right now on the over.
Yeah. I like Western Kentucky +3 too.
Yep.
This is the
beautiful thing. What about Mississippi State, Texas Tech? Mike Leach going against his old team.
Yeah.
Oh, I completely forgot about that.
Yeah.
That'll be a good one. Mike Leach kind of making an ass out of himself this week, but that's a completely different story.
As opposed to any other
transfer portal. Yeah. Again, you make very valid points.
The day ends in Y.
Yeah, very true. And obviously, we'll talk about it once the season's over, but the transfer portal has been absolutely bananas lately. So, all right, boys, time to jump into the weekly NFL pick show. It is week 15. A quick update in the standings. I jumped back into first place as promised last week with a 5-1 week. Zach went 2-4. He is in second at 45-41. Matt, not far behind us. He went 4-2. He's at 41-45. And PGoy sitting at 19-17. Remember, he started in week 9. He went 2-4 last week. Obviously, with the schedule changing a little bit this week, we have some Saturday games, so our Sunday slate might be a little bit different. And obviously, with all the COVID and health and safety protocols, guys getting moved around, we may be flexible. So make sure you pay attention on Twitter at @typical_Chicago if we have to change any picks because of reschedulings or whatever the case is. We can switch those around up to game time. So let's go ahead and jump into it, boys. We have our Sunday is a little bit different. Instead of 2 noon games, we can take either 2 noon games or a Saturday, one of the Saturday games and a Sunday noon game. I'll go ahead and get us started. I will take the Tennessee Titans in a pick now at Pittsburgh. I think Tennessee's kind of rolling right now. I still think they're a pretty underrated team. They struggled early, and I just don't trust Pittsburgh at all. And I'm also going to take, I hate doing this, but the New York Giants at home plus 10.5 against the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys showed last week they're very susceptible, and no game is complete. They damn near blew that game against the Washington football team. So give me the Titans and the New York Giants. Zach, who do you got?
I'm going to take the Patriots plus 2.5 in Indianapolis against the Colts. Plus 2.5. I'm a big fan of the Patriots right now. And I'm going to take the Cardinals minus 13 in Detroit. I think they win by 3 touchdowns. It's a very good Cardinals team.
And it's getting to the point where the playoffs are what, like 3-4 weeks away? I mean, if you want to be there right now, they're the number 1 seed in the NFC. You got to finish things out, and you got to take care of business, especially against a bad Detroit team. I don't hate that pick at all. Maddie, who you got?
I'm actually going to go against both of you guys once each. I'm going to go. The first game I'm going to take is I'm actually going the Colts at home. I like the 2.5. The one thing that New England's defense struggles against is the run. So Jonathan Taylor is obviously like on an absolute tear right now. So I think it's a tough matchup. Though I think they'll be able to control the ball and make Mac Jones kind of beat you. I think it's just one of those games. I think New England would take care of them in a playoff spot at home. I think that, the home field, New England's defense, I think prevail there. But something about this game being in Indy, only being 2.5, and I think Taylor has a chance to make an impact. So I'm going to go with Colts in that one. The other game, I'm actually taking the Steelers. And you said 1, right? I had 1.5 actually right now, but
it's down to a pick 'em right now.
I've got Tennessee's -1 on DraftKings right now at the moment, but that could change obviously based on COVID too. But I think it's just a tough matchup for Tennessee. Still no Derrick Henry. Their offense doesn't have that same punch without the rushing attack that guy just obviously brings. I think he'll be back in possibly a couple weeks. It sounded like. So I think that's the team to worry about here if you're running an AFC squad, because I wouldn't want to play them in a couple of weeks when he's back. But I think it's a kind of a must-win desperation spot for the Steelers.
PGoy, who do you got?
Great minds think alike, and I actually have the same 2 picks as Matt does. I've got the Steelers and the Colts. So I think we're gonna go ahead and zig when we're gonna go ahead and get in front of the Patriots freight train, and we're gonna take the Colts. And then kind of like what Matt said, I mean, the Titans are missing a couple of players, so I think we're gonna take the Steelers in a really big, rah-rah Mike Tomlin spot.
I think the Patriots could win the AFC. I think they're going to hit a speed bump somewhere. I'm just trying to pick this as the speed bump.
And I think we've been thinking about that for like the last month, and like it's got to end at one point. So we're going to go ahead and get in front of the Patriots freight train again, and we're going to take the Colts. So Colts Steelers new games.
Well, hey, does this sound fair? If I put me down for a Tennessee pick'em, and I'll give you guys what'd you say, Matt? Plus 1.5.
2.5 on the Steelers, or Colts are 2.5 right now.
No, on Pittsburgh.
Oh, Pittsburgh is my I've got them at +1 is all.
Okay, I'll give you guys Pittsburgh +1, and I'll take the Tennessee money line, because that's what I've got here on the Score app. Let's move to the Sunday afternoon games. I believe there's only 3 afternoon games. 4. I will go ahead and start. I'm going to take Cincinnati +2.5 out in Denver. I just think they're a better team. Denver's playing better, but I think that, being in the thick of the playoff hunt, Cincinnati getting 2.5. And I am also going to take the Los Angeles Rams -4.5 home against the Seahawks. I think they're just a much better team. I think the Seahawks are dead, and the Rams really got to start proving that they need to be up there at the top of the NFC as the playoffs loom right around the corner. Zach, who do you got?
I have San Francisco minus 9.5 at home against the Falcons, and then the Ravens plus 5.5 against the Packers at home in Baltimore.
Expecting big things out of Huntley because it doesn't seem like Lamar's going to play
Money line.
right now. That's a bad pick. That might be one of your worst of the year.
We'll see. We will see.
I'm going to ride with Zach on one. I'm going to take Frisco. I like them. I think they're going to just dominate Atlanta at home. I think it's a good spot for them. It's another team that they've got to put that game away, kind of lock up a good control at least towards a playoff spot. It'll put them at 8-6 with a win there. I think it's, I don't want to say must win, but maybe can't lose.
Greg Kittle, 2 touchdowns.
I wouldn't doubt that. That guy's a machine. I don't know, man. I've been on Cincinnati. I like Joe Burrow a lot. This just smells like a spot. Like Fangio kind of is such a good defensive mind, especially against young quarterbacks. I just feel like Denver at home, it's a tough place for anybody to go in, especially a young quarterback, young offense. It's been reeling a little bit and had trouble putting teams away. So I think I'm going to take Denver minus 2.5 there.
It does. It's a stinky line, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's very, very fishy.
Teddy covers.
It's true. Teddy too close.
I thought about that, and that's why I stayed away. And I'm actually kind of oppo on you guys. I'm on the Falcons plus 9.5, and the Packers minus 5.5. So I don't think Lamar's going to play. So I think I'm going to just grab the 5.5 now, and we'll see what happens.
Money line.
Yeah.
money line, Packers money line.
Zach, money line.
That's what I like.
I love Zach's money line confidence every time he just throws it out there. I love it.
It's well timed.
Moving to the Sunday night game, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers hosting the New Orleans Saints, and I'm basically just making this pick based on getting absolutely burned on it last year. Give me New Orleans plus 11. Just seems like a lot of points. I don't know why. I'm not very confident that New Orleans
I'm taking
is a
Tampa.
good team.
I'm taking Tampa.
PGoy, you got Tampa as well?
Saints.
Oh, gosh.
Tom Brady
Yep.
versus
We're
Taysom
split.
Hill. Tom Brady versus Taysom Hill. I'd lay 15.
Thank you.
And also, by the way, I just want to remind everybody I was very right about Taysom Hill last week. So I'm just going to keep riding the Taysom Hill train, and it's probably going to crash and burn in a fiery crash.
That was a very difficult matchup.
Yeah,
going into the
Jets at
Rock
home?
Meadowlands and facing the JTS Jets.
East Rutherford's no joke, Matt. Have some respect, all right? He looked great.
Maybe
Taysom
we're on the Storm and Mormon, Taysom Hill.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, exactly.
Tom, terrific.
In the final game Monday night, Bears-Vikings, Minnesota minus 3.5.
Bears.
This was an easy pick.
Minnesota.
Give me the alternate spread. Minnesota give me 18. I don't even care.
18.
Bears are going to get
Shut
smoked.
up, Boomy.
They're going to get killed.
You know it's at Soldier Field, right?
Don't care.
Nagy's literally going to be the only coach on the sideline.
Yeah, there's everyone else is not going to be there. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's not going to be. I don't think it's going to go well.
Money line. Give it to me, money line.
PGoy, obviously, you're taking Minnesota minus 3.5. I'm going to assume.
Money line. You're taking a money line.
Now. That thing's shot up. It's 5.5 now.
Oh yeah, I don't care. I'll take it at 5.5.
Let's just say this shouldn't be the Monday night game. Let's just say that.
No,
it should not be. It should be.
So boys, are we making?
It should be the alternate Thursday game at like 4:30 in the afternoon.
The NFL has
this should be a London game at 8 a.m.
and Monday night consecutive weeks. Ashamed of yourselves.
If you're tailing Zach and I, just please do it responsibly.
Yeah.
This should be the game that is on the same time as like the Saturday bowl game.
But do you know what I mean, though? If the
Yes.
NFL is trying to put out its best product and the Bears are back-to-back primetime games,
Dude, this ain't it.
Somebody's lying.
somebody's got it wrong.
Yeah. So are we making this 5.5?
Yeah, that's fine.
My contest is 3.5. So do whatever the hell you want. I don't care.
We'll make it 5.5. Like I said, I don't care. Give me Vikings, whatever. They're gonna
Fucking make it.
That's fine. Yeah, put movie down for minus whatever.
minus whatever.
Minus question mark. We'll figure it out later.
All right, that was our week 15 picks for our NFL show. Let's wrap things up. As always, we have a TCF top 3. Luckily, the weather's been pretty nice around in these parts, but we do know the inevitable is coming. So we are doing the TCF top 3 of winter destinations. We can throw in, a specific bowl game or an NFL stadium or destination you want to go to, or just a vacation spot, anywhere to get away from the barren, freezing wasteland that we currently live. And since I don't think we've given a while, Zach, why don't you go ahead and lead us off, man?
I'm going to go Bears-Packers game in the snow. That'd be awesome.
But like a 30-degree snow, not like a
not like freezing cold,
snow.
not the ice bowl by no means, but a good snow. Like the other night, it was good snow. It was pretty cold. Bears-Packers, but I want it to mean something. It has to be like a few years down the road.
Yeah, I can't.
When Aaron Rodgers leaves next year.
When Aaron Rodgers is 48 years old and still tearing the Bears apart and making everybody angry. PGoy, let's have you go second. Where are you on it? Where's number 1 travel destination in the winter? If you say Minneapolis, I'm going to punch in the face.
No, God, no. My favorite city in the world is Las Vegas, Nevada. So they're going to go to Las Vegas.
I don't think you're going to get any argument out of this group on that. That's a good choice.
Vegas in the wintertime is beautiful.
We've had some quite a few trips out there, but we've had some good times. So
never in the winter. I got to get myself out there during the winter one of these years. Maddie, you want to go ahead and go third?
Sure. First one, I'm gonna go with a throwback when the NFL Pro Bowl was in Hawaii. Honolulu trip to see Andy Reid in a Hawaiian shirt, bunch of NFL coaches and
and you're in Hawaii.
Great pick.
Yeah, so I'm gonna take Hawaii. Make obviously a very nice trip out of going to the Aloha Land to see a bunch of NFL stars stumble over themselves and try to play a half game of football.
Absolutely. Good pick. I'll take the wrap around here. My first one is going to be Pasadena, California. I want to go out and see the Rose Bowl one of these days. And obviously California in Pasadena in the winter has got to be a hell of a lot better than this. And the Rose Bowl's always just seemed like the one, like obviously I don't go to a ton of college football games, but the Rose Bowl is always just one of those, so much history there. And like you said, it's California. My second pick, this is going to be a weird pick, but Zach, you'll remember, I want to go to Vail, Colorado in the winter and just see the difference.
You took mine.
I mean, really anywhere in Colorado, but we went to Vail this summer. And
I really had that written down.
Did you really? I mean, I had to. It was one of those things that came out. I enjoy skiing. I've been skiing before. I'd love to go out there and just see what that place looks like outside of the summer, because it's supposed to be one of the best winter travel destinations in the country. So that is absolutely somewhere I need to get to and see what that's really about when it's humming in season. Maddie, you got another one?
Yeah, and it was actually last year's location for the NHL Winter Classic was Lake Tahoe. This is by far and away the best location for a Winter Classic that they've done, in my opinion. Backdrop was incredible. They built a rink right off the
that was phenomenal.
Looked fantastic. Boats coming in off the side. Had a little struggle when they played too early in the day with the sun reflecting off the ice. But the night game that they had was dynamite, and the backdrop was it was absolutely perfect. It looked like the absolute perfect sporting event to go to. Obviously, another place you can make a nice little vacation out of going to Lake Tahoe as well. So that's mine.
Good choice. PGoy, what's your second round pick?
Well, Matt took. I'm kidding. He didn't take mine. Technically, since the Super Bowl is in the wintertime, I'm going to go Super Bowl.
Holy
So they're,
crap!
That's a stretch.
That's another one of mine.
Oh, that's all yours?
oh, shit.
That's a great pick. I would just had that too.
Thank
That's a
you.
good pick.
Thank you.
What do you mean, Boomy? It's in the wintertime.
No, I know. You're not wrong.
It's in early February. That's as winter as it gets.
No,
Yeah.
shit.
Valid point. I'm stuck in December.
Man.
Well,
Okay.
thank you.
So mine,
It's literally the same, like the week before or week after the Pro Bowl.
And it tends to be just absolutely freezing here that time of year.
Yeah, for sure.
mine, I'll go. My second one is St. Germain, Wisconsin. Go there all the time. It's where my
Good
grandparents
choice.
have a cabin at. Go snowmobiling. Love it there this time of year. A lot of snow, very cold, but it's an awesome place to be this time of year. And my third one, now I have to think. Let's go Myrtle Beach because they have a lot of golf courses.
Yep, that's a good choice.
I'm going to go there.
Good choice. I don't hate that. PGoy, what's your third and final pick?
Kind of like Zach said, my grandparents have a place down in Fort Myers, Florida. So we're heading to Florida to play some golf.
Good choice.
Oof.
Can't be. And it's like it's like 70 there. Like it's just perfect every day.
Well, and they go play golf and they go back to their places and they have a happy hour at like 3:30. They eat dinner at 5 and they're in bed by 7 o'clock. It's like that.
A life.
That sounds incredible.
Absolutely. Maddie, what's your final pick?
I'm going to go another event. This one not sports related. This one also in February. I'm going to go with Mardi Gras. Happens in February every year. Absolute shit show of a party in New Orleans. So sign me
I would
up
love
for
to
it.
go to that. That's a great one.
Grimy as hell. Just an absolute disaster. Sign me up.
And you guys can veto this if you want. I have kind of a specific. I want to hit like a Texas college basketball trip. So you're in Texas in the winter, whatever it is, but like the big schools down there, go catch like a Texas game, a Texas Tech. Schools like that, hit those so you can go outside during the day. And then,
I think the key
catch
is
a
like
college
with PGoy's trip, he said Vegas, and I was thinking, yeah, do the Las Vegas Bowl, like do tickets, go see a shit bowl game there in Vegas, and then build a weekend around it.
Well, even if you want to get specific, like even go see a game at Texas, but go see like Texas versus Oklahoma or Texas Tech or Texas A&M, whatever the case is.
You said Scottsdale.
Yeah, that's a good choice.
What the one I
Beach.
was thinking was the Waste Management Open, happens right the weekend of the Super Bowl as well.
I've always wanted to go to that.
Yes.
That'd be
dude, parlay like the Waste Management with the Super Bowl Sunday with man.
Yeah.
That'd be sick.
Feel like a sweet
Anything else we
Airbnb
missed?
or
Yeah,
something.
but you could even do with how close it is. You could go Waste Management on Saturday, shoot up to Vegas for Sunday for a Super Bowl. So.
Hell yeah! Now you're
a Super Bowl
now you're
Sunday in
cooking with
Vegas would
gasoline.
be.
It's supposed to be there in 25, I believe, too now.
Yeah.
No, 2024.
I saw somebody say, I think it was
Yeah.
Dante the Don said, the Super Bowl will be in Las Vegas in 2025 and then every year after.
It should be.
Probably not
like-
far off.
But like, why not? Like,
why not?
make it there?
Exactly.
It's perfect.
They can handle it. They've got casinos. They've got the logistics. They've got hotels everywhere. They've got restaurants.
Lodging.
Because even if Las Vegas Raiders make it to the Super Bowl, it's still a neutral site.
They don't have a home field advantage.
Yeah, it's neutral
No.
for everybody
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like you built that stadium
for a reason.
that reason.
Vegas is still considered, in my opinion, lawless. So there's like
But
no fans.
then they'll go. But then, like Jerry Jones will go, why would we have
Yeah.
Dallas? We can't have a Super Bowl here and stuff like
Well,
that.
he's an old fucker, so he can go.
The only reason
As
it won't happen is
usual, the
that's a
root-
big incentive for people building stadiums. So
Yeah.
that's the only reason it won't happen.
Very true.
Yeah, Stan Kroenke's like, I just shelled out $5 billion for this. We're playing a couple damn Super Bowls.
Maddie, we should maybe we should hope that it doesn't happen because then the Bears will never build a new stadium.
Yeah, no. They'll be running that fucking flying saucer on the way.
Yeah. Ugh.
Absolutely. That hard to argue with
Hey,
boys.
all I need, just keep the track and build Keep the track. Build a football stadium near the track. You've got horse race weekends built
Build
right
it around
NFL
it.
Sundays.
Race around the football stadium.
Bears
Why not?
and horse racing at the same time.
Why
It
not?
looked like a high school stadium with the track.
That
around
would
the
be
football
so
field.
Yeah.
cool.
Talk about a fucking gambling mecca.
Oh my gosh, people are betting on the horses, like cheering for the horses, cheering for the Bears.
You'll go bet ponies on Friday, Saturday.
I would get
go
season
bet the
tickets.
Bears on Sunday. Yeah.
I'm not the biggest fan of going to like a football game, but if
No, I'm not.
It
But you
means-
could make a weekend around that.
if it means I can watch the horses and the Bears at the same time,
Count them in.
that'd be so cool.
Save that for some ideas.
I don't know if
under
I
the
can watch
influence.
football the same again.
Yeah.
For sure. But thank you for joining us. That was episode 122 of Typical Chicago Fans. Shout out to our sponsor, Connect Roasters Coffee. Make sure you check them out, connectroasters.com. Also head to Beer Baseball Repeat for your TCF gear. Check out some of their gear as well. Get some stickers, get some koozies. Beer Baseball Repeat on Instagram. Make sure you check us out on Twitter at typical_Chicago. Head to our Facebook and Instagram page. YouTube as well. Type in Typical Chicago Fans. Give our page there. Subscribe for all of our content in video form. Apple Podcast. Make sure you subscribe, rate, and review. Check us out on Spotify, Spreaker, Google Podcast, wherever you get your podcast. And tell a friend. While you're going to be out celebrating the holidays, make sure you tell a friend to check out the podcast.
Yeah, at your Christmas party, go up to your family and subscribe to Typical Chicago Fans on their phone.
Yep. All you have to do is ask them to borrow their phone for like 30 seconds and, just hit the little subscribe button. And if, they let it go for longer than that, then, you just go to their Facebook, their Instagram, Twitter, make sure you take care of all that. But yeah, show some love over the holiday
Do it
break.
on Apple
But
and
sure.
Spotify too, both.
Yeah,
I did.
Yeah, exactly. Load it up. But thank you for joining us. You can follow me on Twitter at BoomyTCF. Make sure to follow Zach at ZLiliaTCF, Maddie at schools_01, and PGoy at TCF PGoy. We appreciate you checking in for episode 122 of Typical Chicago Fans. We love you all.
Peace.